So now it's the semi-final, Orc versus Night Elf like last week. Focus again, this time against WarchiefRich though, instead of Check. And Focus had a really great performance, as I said earlier, in last week's Gera Cup in the semi and grand finals in the Orc versus Night Elf matchup. And especially on Total Rock he had really good performances, so quite curious as to how this is going to work out now for him. If he has the insane performance from last week or not. And also how WarchiefRich competes against that. We're probably going to see the standard Demon Hunter against Blightmaster. And there we go, it is the Demon Hunter against the Blightmaster. As just usual for this matchup. And it now just really depends on what both of them do in early game. Focus could go for the orange camps here, for the ogres only, or for the whole orange camp for experience and items. He could also go for the Goblin Shop to get the Ogre Magi. That's what he did last week against Jack and Foggy. And he did it really good as well, in a way that he pulled this back here with his blade here. And every time Jack or Foggy tried to do something about it, and then he just ran back here, the Ogre Magi came back here, back in here as well. And the other ogres blocked Demon Hunter off, so he could do nothing about that Ogre Magi creep. So Focus definitely knows how to do that. And so far it seems that he might go for a one barrow attack, which he did last week quite a lot as well, so he's gonna go for its strategy again. He always went for the one barrow attack except for one time where I think on last refuge he wanted to try to go for an aggressive placer and maybe to tower push. And again, he goes for the shop straight away. Rich will try to do something about it, got the Slippers of Agility for his Demon Hunter, which is nice for him, but he denied the big turtle with his Ancient of Force, so not much XP for him. He only got 20 XP 2 times from the small turtles. And Focus wants to pull the Ogre Magi back in here again to block the Demon Hunter away. Rich almost made it so the ogres actually wouldn't block him away, but now he can't do anything about it. He's not in range to mana burn, he just can't do anything here. Focus also got dust and the circlet, so nothing there for the Demon Hunter to buy, and he basically almost just wasted his time. Pen of energy for the Blightmaster, which is really nice for his TC later on, and the Grunt was just staying at base to make sure that that second burrow doesn't get cancelled, since he went for that kind of greedy one burrow attack. Gets the heal now for his Blightmaster and will continue farming for items, or do things that Blightmaster do. That Blightmaster does. Gets rid of a Wisp here, although I'm not sure if he got the XP or if it got denied. I think he got the XP actually. And WarchiefRich just answers to this with getting his own Ogre Magi. He wants to chop here as well. And actually gets a Wisp here answering for the Troll Trapper, so Troll Trapper didn't attack him in meantime. Loses his Demon Hunter though, does he? No, not quite. That was really close. Almost loses his Demon Hunter. That's actually quite interesting now. Focus got another Gloves of Haste here. If he wouldn't have had a Wisp there, this Troll Trapper would have stayed here and just attacked his Demon Hunter, and then he would have lost him. Or would have not been able to take this camp. I'm not sure if this was on purpose with the Wisp or not, apparently not, because he didn't send him back to Lumber. But that was really quite close. It was quite lucky for Rich that he had perfect items. If he would have had any other item than Slippers of Agility, he would have probably died there. That was really kind of risky, especially considering that he's playing against Blightmaster. And Focus is just happy with creeping more items here, not picking this up because he first has to get rid of a healing salve. There we go. Now picks it up and is quite well equipped. Also his tier 2 is almost finished. Rich got quite some items as well. He has really perfect items for his Demon Hunter. Ring of Regeneration is not too bad, although a lot of players decide to sell it at some point. But it can still be quite nice, especially now for creeping, to have the constant HP regeneration, because it's quite a lot of HP regeneration here, as you can see. And he still wants to get another item. First attacks this Ogre, and this one has the item, so he went for the wrong one first. We'll get this one, let's see what he gets. Another Gloves of Haste. That Demon Hunter is one strong Demon Hunter. He doesn't have boots though, but that's fine. Blightmaster does have boots, so if he would find a Demon Hunter here, he could maybe force the Town Portal. Doesn't do so. Dusts here to make sure that there's no archer here to get the Beastmaster. But Rich, not going for the Beastmaster yet, he's rather going for a creeping kind of playstyle. Not finishing this troll off. There we go, now he does it. And the Blightmaster found the Demon Hunter. Can he force him to TP though? Probably not with those items. And No, he's gonna get to his base too fast, so he won't be able to kill him before he reaches the moon walls. Focus knows that, so he doesn't even try to go for it, doesn't want to get mana burned, and just checks this out here, gets scouting information. Now roots up the Ancient Fort, it's convenient timing for Focus, now he can instantly cancel the shop. Got his TC going, his tier 2 buildings are quite safe, and still no Beastmaster for Rich because he doesn't even have a Wisp on the map or anything. Wants to go for it now with his Archer and his Hunter here, and then probably try to go into more creeping. Focus only has 2 grunts because he went for a 1 burrow attack, and oftentimes in this matchup you see orcs only going for 2 or 3 grunts maximum, because they rather spend their gold on raiders and spirit walkers. But by going for less grunts they have a harder time creeping,
forces are under attack.
which you can see here now, so he rather tries to creep with his Blade Master at the same time. Gets a Gauntlet, which is not too bad for his TC. Now the focus on the grunt uses Speed Scroll to save him, else he would have died. And that Demon Hunter puts out so much damage. There's the dust on the Archer. Will kill that one eventually. Oh, that's so round. That was so well done. And there's no mana for the Blade Master to windwalk. The Blade Master will die here. There's so much damage output from that Demon Hunter. And it's too much. There's a lot of damage output on the Beastmaster as well. But in the end they trade, and it's a much better trade for WarchiefRich at this point, only losing a level 1 hero against a level 2 hero, and the level 2 hero takes almost double the time to revive, as you can see here on the observer board. He might lose his CC spell, although that's quite unlikely with Spirit Link and Ensnare quite soon as well. That's probably finished by now, I think. Or, no, he never started Ensnare. He did start Ensnare, but he didn't want to use it yet. Now he used it to try to get this around. Used the healing potion, but it's not enough. That Demon Hunter just goes rampage with those items. Those items are so insane that the Demon Hunter is so strong in this early mid game. He deals so much damage. Talons with Adept upgrade already, and 3 of them in the base. Tier 3 tech is finished for the Night Elf. And Focus still has to be careful here. This early game, well, early mid game I guess, is quite horrible for Focus so far. But Focus, what we've seen from him last week, promised some insanely strong comebacks, so he's definitely not out of this game yet, that's for sure. But still, it was so well done by WarchiefRich with that surround. And, well, I guess it was also really well done by the creeps by giving him literally almost perfect items. That was really, really good for him. Focus now wants to get his TC to level 2 at least, but Rich is already prepared. He's getting a master upgrade, it's halfway finished. And he knows that he's in a good spot, so he doesn't even have to be defensive as Night Elf usually has to be until master upgrade is finished. Instead, he's gonna be aggressive with the Tinker and Overfind him. He has Staff, he has a TP as well. And he will go in here and he will definitely kill some burrows. There's no TP for Focus. He's on the other side of the map and he has to run all the way back there. This is really quite a bad game for Focus so far. He's now supply block. He doesn't even have a level 3 Blade Master, not even a Shockwave on his TC, so that Path Energy is completely useless so far. And this is so much damage that Rich is dealing to this base here. He will maybe still take the fight, but he could also just TP out and then go for some creeping himself. Because really, in this matchup, it's oftentimes the case that orcs prefer to not... Oh, nice dodge of the Ensnare with the Crow form. So Rich just buying a lot more time with the Crow form here, and he will TP out eventually. You just want to buy as much time as possible here. Focus is not even gold mining at the moment, and there's the TP for Rich before he starts losing anything. And this was a perfect trade for Rich. It's 45 out of 20 supply for Focus. He lost almost every single burrow. And Rich is catching up in supply. Now also, what I wanted to say earlier, orcs oftentimes want to rather try to keep the opponent Night Elf from creeping instead of creeping themselves, because if Night Elves get strong hero levels with this threat with the triple hero and the support from the Talons, it is just too much for the orc to handle, and that completely destroys an orc player at that point. And especially on Turtle Rock, it's really easy to creep for Night Elf with Talons, because most of the important creeps, like the Gigantian Sea Turtle here, has heavy armor, and it's one big creep, so you can use Fairy Fire on it quite efficiently, and you have such an easy time creeping a lot. You also get big consumable items like the big invul pot here, so you're also really well prepared for the fight. Now Focus can't do so much about it. He can't go for a straight up fight right now, so he rather wants to go for some of his own creeping, get that shockwave. And he really needs a level 3 TC, because he got a Pen of Energy, got a Greater Mana Pot, which is awesome items for this matchup for him. But it's, at this point, not good enough, because he only has level 1 Shockwave. And Rich is ready to push. He got hit one big invul pot, and he wants to push again now. He just quickly got this creep camp that was easy to take with the Ancient of War, and he wants to push now before Focus gets all of his burrows back up. He's still supply blocked. And it's 47 against 45 supply. And if Nightwolf has more supply in this matchup and better hero levels, you know that there's something wrong. And the Nightwolf is quite far ahead usually in that case. Which is the case here now as well. Focus still, he has insane comeback potential oftentimes, but at this point, Rich is having such a nice game with that early Blade Master killer and such. Also with the map here, it's definitely not gonna be easy for Focus, but maybe he can make a miracle happen. Still only 4 burrows, so he can't even break into upkeep. So it's gonna be 50 supply against 50 supply, which is definitely not good for the Orc. Orc players usually want to have roughly 10 supply more in this matchup, and also better hero levels, but it is basically the other way around at this point. Still, Rich doesn't want to commit into the Orc base too much, waits for his Ancient of War to run over here, sends one Crow out here to scout, sees Focus advancing on the map here, and doesn't go for the creep here quite yet, because Focus would creep check him there. Instead goes to this creep here. It's quite easy to take without the Yoga Matcha. It's a nice additional XP, and getting a double level up on the second and third here would be quite valuable. Focus Ion took out the Ancient of War. He could try to creep this now for level 3 TC. He won't do that though. He rather wants to try to go for the fight here against Rich. Rich in quite a nice fighting position though. Still, there's a level 1 wave only healing 2 talents and that Pocket Factory. And Focus instantly pulling the invul pot to get rid of the Pocket Factory to not get Cyclone on his Blade Master. And get some damage on here. A 90 crit, which is real not that much. And the Raiders are doing quite some nice work on the talents here, but still you can see it here. Rich still has more supply. He got his double level up. His Serious Archer is doing so much. He also got double heal scroll from the shop. And still has that big invul pot. No, well, 1 heal scroll actually for Focus, but it really is looking quite horrible for Focus. Maybe with a nice hero kill he could still do something. But with double heal scroll, Staff of Preservation, and TP and a big invul pot, I don't see this happening here. There's so much Cyclone still, you can easily Cyclone heroes. There's the Greater Mana Potion, gets that level 1 wave, which was a real nice wave, but Scroll Feeling completely negates that. And Focus is completely falling apart. Rich still at a solid 50 supply against 41, with much better hero levels. And there's the Cyclone on TC, there's the Surround. No more Spirit Link on him, so he's easy to kill. And Focus just is nothing against this. Rich played a really awesome game in the mid and early game, and easily takes this game away now. There's no way for Focus to come back into this. It's GG, and it is 1-0 for WarchiefRich.